Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a Sports Ethos show brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski, joined as always by the great Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. And if you're looking for clear, actionable fantasy basketball advice, you're in the right place. On this show, we're going to cover ads, the drop zone, and our top streamers. So let's get started. Doc, hello. Who's your top ad?
Hello, Brew. I'm freshly showered. I never shower right before the show. I'm feeling fresh.
You know it's good.
Feeling fresh today.
Ain't nobody dope as you.
My first ad is the guy I keep talking about, Io DeSumo. I was so hung up on Trey Jones, and Io was my number 2 guy. But Io's been better than Trey Jones. He's been better than Kevin Huerter. Kobe White came back last night and didn't do much. Was not great. Meanwhile, Io has rattled off 6 games in a row in double-figure scoring, some steals, couple blocks, decent assists, decent rebounds, decent threes. He's not great, but he's solid. I think Io, as long as Giddey's out, I feel like Io's going to be solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's really a top 150 guy on the season. He's kind of bumped it up to top 80, 100 over the last 4 games. I was running numbers on him earlier, so I actually have them in front of me. 15 points, 2.3 triples, and 5.5 assists with the pristine percentages. Io DeSumo, and probably just going to, like an arrow, just cut through this thing with Josh Giddey out and just be slow, steady, wins the race, while Trey Jones and Kevin Huerter oscillate up and down. And it's probably Trey Jones night tonight, as Kevin Huerter laid an egg in last night's game. And then you got the fact that there will be 2 more games in the next 3 days here for the Chicago Bulls. And that's maybe bad news for Trey Jones because he's been on the injury report a lot. Same with Kevin Huerter. Io DeSumo, other than that thumb injury from a few weeks back, pretty much just ready to rock and roll. I'll bring Tari Eason into the conversation. Another good one last night, 12 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 threes. Just outside the top 100 on the season on a per game basis, and getting you the classic Eason stats: 12 points, 2+ threes, 6 boards, just under 2 combined defensive stats. And over the last 3 weeks, he's bumped it up a notch into the top 90. No back-to-backs for Houston until the middle of January. Tari Eason ready to rock and roll. Doc, who you got next?
The second guy I have on my list is Javonte Green. I'm not going to claim to be a big Javonte Green guy because I'm not, but with Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris banged up and out and other guys kind of dinged up, Javonte Green has been okay. 27 minutes a game over his last 3, 2.7 triples over his last 3, 13 points. He had 17 last night. 1.7 steals. He had 3 steals last night. He had 1 steal in each of his previous 2. Almost no assists, 1 a game, literally. And then the rebounds aren't great. But the threes and steals and points and minutes and just doing stuff, if you're in a deep league, I think Javonte Green is at least worth a look.
At least while these guys are hurt. And last year's Coach of the Year, J.B. Bickerstaff, loves Javonte Green. He just brings that very Detroit Pistons brand of basketball to the equation, and he's going to get in there and rock and roll. He's also, it's cool that Javante's been a good fantasy guy throughout his career. You know, when he gets the minutes, 10 games out of 82 every season. When he gets those minutes, Javonte Green can crank it up over to the top 100 fairly quick. So a nice short-term play there. My best moment of last night was when I was at my son's first basketball practice. Mean defender, pretty good jump shot. And the second best moment was getting your text, Doc. It just said Leroy. And I knew at that point that Dennis Jenkins, everybody, was having a good night. 12 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 2 3-pointers, and just outside of the top 100 in the last 3 games. Dennis Jenkins in 17 minutes per game. So this is the reason that I keep talking about him, is he can climb up the ranks pretty quick. He's got about 2 weeks here to prove himself before the trade deadline, when they offer him a contract between now and then. On the other side of that, we're hoping for 20 minutes per game. I'll take us to Moussa Diabate next. He had 9 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, no defensive stats, hit most of his shots, 28 minutes. Ryan Kalkbrenner out with the mysterious elbow injury. I cannot remember the reporter's name out of Charlotte, but she said that expect an update within the week on Ryan Kalkbrenner. And I don't know if that's the return to play protocol starts to get announced or it's some sort of bad news. It feels like it's the former, not the latter. But as you said, Doc, as you've been recommending Moussa Diabate for a while, if something happens with Kalkbrenner, I mean, it's his show, Diabate. And a lot of people in Charlotte are also talking about the difference in play. Like a lot of people are noticing that Diabate's minutes this season have probably been better than Ryan Kalkbrenner's. And that was what caught my eye in the preseason, and why I wasn't so all over Kalkbrenner is I thought Diabate might win that job. So, Doc, I don't know if you have anything to add there, but if not,
I do.
Yeah, I thought you might.
I first of all, I do not have a good feeling about Kalkbrenner the rest of the way. Like, I think this injury is pretty serious. I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about it. Just the little that we've heard about it out of Charlotte, the things I have heard is it sounds like everybody's kind of worried about it. And he's been out for 10 games now, something like that. So I'm not convinced that Kalkbrenner's coming back. And I would not be surprised if we get bad news when they finally give us an update. I also wouldn't be surprised if we get good news on Kalkbrenner, but I've just got a bad vibe about Kalkbrenner.
Yeah, reporter Shannon Spake. So we'll see in a week, but this is kind of the premises or the premise behind adding Diabate when he's got his wrist injury. He's not taking advantage of the minutes a couple of weeks ago or last week, and then now has a good game and on his way possibly to some fantasy value the rest of the way if the news breaks his way. Any other honorable mentions, Doc?
Well, do you know who's undefeated in 2026? It's the Portland Trailblazers. They're 3-0.
Oh, yeah.
Sidi Sissoko last night hit 4 3-pointers, had 2 steals and a block, scored 14 points. Like that's fun. 25 minutes. His previous 2 games were not so fun. 7 points, 5 points. He did have 2 steals and a block and a 3 in one of those games as well, though. So there's potential here. And actually, New Year's Eve, 5 triples, 1 block, 19 points. Dude's been doing stuff, but he's still very inconsistent, very raw, up and down. I wanted to mention him as an honorable mention because he plays for Portland. Things seem to get weird. Keep Portland weird, right? Things get weird in Portland near the end of the season. I do think Sissoko has serious silly season potential. So deep league, I think you can give him a look. I mean, he's got at least 20 minutes per game in his last 6. And he's put up nice numbers in 3 of those. So Sidi Sissoko, everyone.
Yeah, he got my eye way back in the day, like in a dynasty draft, and then he ended up in Sacramento for a stint. He had the San Antonio time, and then this in Portland. Just to me, is the culmination of kind of what I had hoped to see a lot sooner. And so the fact that he can get you just money counting or cash counting stats, that's big. And you're right, silly season written all over him. I'll throw out Grayson Allen, who had a 0 burger last night, 0 for 4 shooting. He did get you 3 boards, 6 assists, and 4 steals to just sort of remind you of the potential there in his rust game. He was passing up shots left and right. It was getting noticed by the beat writing crew. 22 minutes in this return, your classic rust game. Basically, this is just a reminder that if you're going to make the move on Grayson Allen, you need to do it soon or now. I'm pretty sure most people already have. Top 75 producer when he was on the floor prior to the injuries. And of course, a lot of injury risk there. So an upside play with a lot of risk, but you don't find that kind of value very often. So we're going to take that risk. And then Royce O'Neal, interestingly enough, had a good game, 15.6 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 5 threes, 31 minutes. And the thought process might feel like it's the wrong time to add Royce O'Neal because he's been bad lately. And we're going to add Grayson Allen to this mix, but he's been a top 115 guy on the full season. You know, he gets you 10 points, 3 threes, 5 boards, 3 assists, and 1.6 combined defensive stats. So that's basically what you expect. Now, when he goes off at a top 75 range. He's been so bad for so long that uptick, it's coming probably no matter what. So Royce O'Neal. Before we move on,
Brew. You want to hear a crazy story?
Sure.
I saw Grayson Allen available in one of my leagues yesterday.
And then what did you do?
I didn't pick him up. I just kept scrolling.
You're a never Grayson.
I don't know.
You're never need and never Grayson.
I might go. I actually am going to sit down. My wife plays Yahtzee with her best friend at Johnny B's every Tuesday from 3 to 5. So while we're there today, I may sit in a corner by myself in the dark and set all of my lineups and make my moves. That I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a day off from Golden Tee and just go find Grayson Allen.
Are you going to add him?
I might. It depends. I've got to get Victor Wembanyama off an injured list, and I think the only guy I have to cut is a Bona, which I'm fine with that head to head. But I don't know. I got to see which league Grayson's available.
I think I pummeled you with Grayson Allen talk last year, and then you're holding that against him.
You and I disagree on Grayson Allen. Like, I think the good stuff already happened, and it's going to be a struggle the rest of the way. You think he's going to get right back into the driver's seat. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, this could go any direction because he started off as an early round value. He was a first round guy for the first 3 weeks, looking great. Early round, then the injuries hit and kind of slowed himself down into the top 75 range of the season. And if he went late round, it would be not surprising. It would also not be surprising if he went late round with injury risk and injury games off, or he could just do anything that I just said previously. I think they like him there, and I think they want him to lift those shots. He was just a half beat off. That rust was in place. He literally passed up like 2 or 3 shots that if he hits those, maybe he gets going. He starts taking more shots, and then he kind of gets it going from there. So we'll see. We shall see. Before we move on, quick reminder, if the show is helping your team, please subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today pod feed and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Okay, Doc, drop zone. Who you got?
I don't know if he's a drop or not, but Brendan Pajimski has been. Is his name Brandon? Why does that sound wrong?
No, that's been his name for a while.
Dude, I tell you what, getting old sucks, dude. It is so. It's everything they tell you it is. You're like,
no, it's the I in his name. He spells it with the I. It's Brandon.
You're thinking about somebody's name, and you're like, it's right here. It's right there, and I just can't pull it. Brandon Pajemski, everybody. I feel like when the Warriors are fully healthy, Pajemski just gets stuck in the back seat and doesn't get the ball enough to for my liking. And he's not shooting it well right now. He's 4 of 13 on Friday. He was 2 of 7 on Saturday. He was 2 of 5 last night. Only 5 shots and 7 shots in those last 2 games. If you look, you know how sometimes you look at a depth chart, say on ESPN, and there's all these red crosses and O's and DDs, like it's just littered in red. The Warriors are fully healthy right now, and that's bad news for Pajemski. I think if you're in a shallower league, you might be able to find something more reliable on the waiver wire. I feel like he's sort of like those guys in Miami. He needs a teammate to be injured to really, or not playing to really be effective.
Yeah, I think when DeAnthony Melton arrived, that's the thing that really, really screwed him up. And DeAnthony Melton's actually cruising with the steals right now.
Coming on right now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got enough pop to get up and over the top 100. So you're dealing with a guy who's got a ton of injury history, but what a basketball player, and starting to get it going after those injuries that he's had. That's really, really impressive stuff. And then the flip side of that is Pajemski. I kind of think he's the odd man out in Golden State. Like, he's talked a little too much about wanting this and wanting that, and that he's the man and this, that, and the other, and had a ton of juice. Remember when they wouldn't trade Brandon Pajemski for Lauri Markkanen back in the day? Like, he was off limits. Oh, somebody made a mistake there. Brandon Pajemski, I'd drop his ass. Karl Anthony Towns is up on my drop zone. I'm not dropping Karl Anthony Towns, guys, but something's percolating, and I would actually, this is the buy low moment you guys are looking for out there, because he's talking to the press. The press is talking about Karl Anthony Towns. They're talking about Mike Brown. What's happened here is Karl Anthony Towns' shots have gone to Mikal Bridges, not so much OG Anunoby, but just sort of the generalized group. Karl Anthony Towns should get isolation play called for him. Karl Anthony Towns should get all sorts of just forced action, because that's what he's there for. That's his role. He's not a defensive guy per se. He's an offensive guy, and they're just so infatuated with pace and putting the ball down and getting in the paint and drive and kick and Mike Brown's style of offense, which admittedly, when I watch a Knicks game, I don't see like a ton of difference, but they are trying to move the ball more. It's not finding its way to Karl Anthony Towns. So over the last 3 games, he's been a top 75 guy in 8 cat leagues and a top 135 guy in 9 cat leagues, top 60 to 85 over the last 3 weeks. Now, 4th round over the last month and top 25 on the season. So you can see where the trend line has gone for him. This is your time right now to buy Karl Anthony Towns. You could probably get him for a 3rd round pick. I know that's not a ton of value gain if he's only going to be a top 25 value, but float a 4th rounder out there. I mean, some of this stuff, the name value for Cat is really, really high. I don't know if you'll get the 4th rounder to get done, but a 3rd rounder, especially with one of your 3rd rounders that's got a down arrow next to their name, I think that could be a great value for somebody out there. Doc, if you have anything on Cat, let me know. And otherwise, who else you got?
Mark Williams has been weird. New Year's Eve, 2 points, 9 boards, 1 block. Friday, he had 15 and 9 with a steal and a block. That was great. But then Sunday, he had 8 and 6, no blocks. And last night against Houston, kind of bottomed out. 2 of 6 shooting, 4 points, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 8 rebounds. It's been a kind of a light last 5 games for Mark Williams. So I don't know what's happening there. He's kind of been up and down all season, but I feel like he was more up than he was down. He'll probably bounce back from this. Then again, he's always an injury risk as well. So I probably not dropping Mark Williams, but he's just been weird lately.
Yeah, there's talk about he needs more lobs, and that Grayson Allen's one of their better lob throwers, and that they're going to go to that more often. But that doesn't explain the recent slide. Like, there's a couple weeks now, he's been a late round guy over the last couple of weeks, and then this last 4-game stretch toward the bottom of the top 200. But on the season, he's still a top 50 guy in 9 cat leagues, and the top 80 guy in 8 cat leagues. 12 and 8, 2 combined defensive stats, great efficiencies for a big man. Just like, this is a guy you can kind of build your team around in a roto league because of those efficiencies, and at the same time just disappearing really quick here. Definitely do not drop Mark Williams, and this would be a great buy low moment, even with that injury risk. It feels like Phoenix is down to manage his minutes. So when you see a 20-minute game with not a lot of action, maybe that's just their low-key way of saying, hey, Mark, just kind of go easy out there, and we're going to get you through this season in one piece. I'll talk about another guy who's having a hard time making it through the season in one piece. It's Coby White. Slow night, 25 minutes, 5.6 boards, 3 assists. Chicago struggled. The 25 minutes were, prescribed, so this was not a surprise. The rust for Coby White is certainly there, and I almost wonder if he's better with Giddey out there. So that's just setting the table and creating the efficiency for the offense as a whole, so Coby White can just kind of get in there and carve things up. That said, we've seen enough of them together and enough of them apart, and Coby White off the floor to just be a little bit down about Coby White. But at the same time, the top 50 potential is there, so we're going to hold, and we're going to wait until he gets a couple games under his belt, and then the trade deadline will be here, and we'll probably reset the value at that point. Doc, you got anybody else to mention in the drop zone?
Kristaps Porzingis, how's that going for everybody who drafted him or held him? Or I will never do it. And I didn't do it. I didn't touch Porzingis this year. I don't draft players who I know are only going to play half the year, and I don't care how far they drop. But if you did draft him and you waited all this time for him to come back, it's been rough, man. 17 minutes on New Year's Eve, and he scored 16 points. Sweet, but he had 2 rebounds, nothing else, 2 threes, I guess. And then Friday against the Knicks, he had 4 points, 8 boards, and 2 steals on 1 of 8 shooting. Last night against Toronto, 2 of 12, 9 points, really nothing else. He's hit 3 out of 20 shots in his last 2 games. Now he's Kristaps Porzingis. He'll probably get it turned around, but just a brutal guy right now. Like if he's in your lineup, he's killing you.
Well, check out the Ethos Hawks feed at Ethos Hawks on Twitter and get caught up on the Atlanta stuff. And Kristaps Porzingis, to me, is as big a part of the trade talk in Atlanta as Trae Young is. They're pivoting, and so Kristaps Porzingis.
Go ahead.
No. By all means, you're Atlanta.
I was just going to say that Trae Young officially, the news broke yesterday that they are officially working on a trade to get him out of Atlanta. So it's on now, and I don't know who's going with him or who's coming back, but I think Trae Young is done as a Hawk as of yesterday. That's what it sounds like.
As I tweeted the great Sham Charania yesterday, and I'm sure he read the tweet, I think it's going to be a really good trade deadline because it's going to be there's just so much salary on the board. There's so many names. There's just so many people that don't want to be where they want to be. And maybe because normally you couldn't trade these kinds of players that easily because of the contracts, but because there's so many of them, maybe there's like the biggest cash trade deal, 7-team trade swapping unhappy superstars that we've ever seen in the works. But Porzingis is if he's a part of a trade scenario out there, you're going to see more of him off the floor, limited minutes, unless it gets to the point where they got to prove he can play. But I don't think anybody wonders if he can play. I think they just know that he's got this illness and he's practically never on the floor. And if you stick him in a playoff team, and just give him the playoffs to work with, he could do some amazing things. Ask Boston. Who else you got in the honorable mentions?
The last one is Paul George. And so I've set my FanDuel lineup last night. You set this thing, you get down to you have this much money left in this position. And you scroll through and I'm like, oh, wow, I have the perfect amount of salary left to get Paul George. And Paul George is good, right? Like, I don't have him anywhere. I never play Paul George. I don't really pay that much attention to him. He played 32 minutes last night and hit 3 of 10 shots for 8 points. He did have 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a block and 2 steals. But come on, dude. Like you said, Adem Bono was on the floor for him, and late in the game, it went into overtime. And you look at these numbers, and it's brutal. Like, do you know that Paul George has not scored 20 points in 8 straight games? He has not hit the 20-point plateau in 8 straight. And that's because VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, who actually looks good and is playing
there's
well.
There's a topic right there.
Like, there's three dudes that I think are in front of Paul George as far as the chain of command go. He's the 4th option right now, and guess what? Kelly Oubre's coming back. What's that going to do? That's going to take even more food out of Paul George's hands. He's not going to eat. Embiid, we dog that guy all the time, Brew, and I still don't trust him. I mean, I feel like all he's doing is setting us up to let us down, but he's been good.
Define good, but it's fine because offensively, some of the stuff in the 2-man game with Tyrese Maxey is legitimately uncoverable. I would argue that Tyrese Maxey is commanding most of the attention in that equation, but Maxey around the screen takes 2 guys with him, kicks it back out to Joel. Joel gets wide open threes. He could do his little hezzy game. He could draw a foul. He's getting up into the 20 and 30 point range. Defensively, what they're doing with the Dembona is essentially making a Dembona play all the defense and run up and down the floor, because teams are absolutely scouting Joel Embiid, and they know he's not going to run back and he's not going to run across. He's just going to kind of wobble his way down to both sides of the floor. Now they need a Dembona to go basically play free safety, and that's why you're seeing the Dembona minutes jump up into the 26-minute range, which is great for a stash. Not seeing the stats quite yet because they're working it all out. But Joel Embiid, this is the ultimate sell high moment for Joel Embiid, because right now people think this is going to continue. And all these games, I don't have the back-to-back counter in front of me or anything, but like the month of December through January has been about as good as it gets. And then you're going to get some relief here with the trade deadline as well. So when we get on the other side of February, when it matters in fantasy leagues, it's going to start picking up steam, and Philadelphia's playoff chase is going to start to come into focus. And if they can't win games, which by the way, they just lost to Denver without 5 starters, they're going to sink probably. And the defense is so bad that they're not winning games that they're probably going to win with Joel Embiid playing 20 minutes off the bench and being in a more confined role. They're just trying to see what they have. I guess I don't blame them, but I think we know how this all ends. Sell Joel Embiid while you can. Doc, did I steal your thunder there? I'm so sorry. Can we can bang on Paul George a little bit more?
No, we were done. I mean, I banged on him. I never again, dude. I'm never put Paul George into a FanDuel lineup. I'm never messing with him.
I'll give him a little love. He's
again.
a top 80 guy on the season, playing about half the games, 150-ish over the last couple of weeks. So he's starting to get to that cut line. Kelly Oubre is going to come and knock him out. We'll see. I'd hang on to Paul George in 150 to 200 player league, but it's getting close. All right, we're going to look ahead and we're going to talk about the best streamers here. Before we do that, quick note: if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you head on over to the Sports Ethos YouTube channel for our daily fantasy content. Not all the episodes are here, guys. That's basically it. Your top streamer, Doc.
Jake LaRavia. We don't need to say too much because the Lakers have not played since we hyped this guy up as the top pickup, I think, yesterday. His last 2 games, 23.5 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, half block, 3.5 threes, 61% shooting. No Rui Hachimura, no Austin Reeves. Fire up Jake LaRavia.
Hell yeah. Jalen Tyson for me is my top streamer, and he's questionable right now with an illness. And if this thing knocks him out of this game, then I hope he continues to get dropped, because I will pick Jalen Tyson right up. And the little dip here over the last couple of weeks, who knows? Maybe it's illness related. Maybe it's just related to players coming in and out of the rotation. But Jalen Tyson's been a consistent late round, top 100, even top 80 guy pretty much all season. I think there's only been like 2 weeks of the entire season where he's played beneath that threshold. So I'm going to bank on the young player continuing to improve and pushing his way through this season. And a game against Indiana never hurt anybody. Doc, who do you got?
Brandon Williams, point guard for the Mavs. Nothing mind-blowing, but he's playing really well, man. His last 4 games, points are 26, 22, 14, 15. Rebounds are 7, 7, 3, and 3. He's got a steal in 3 out of those 4 games. And not a lot of 3-pointers. Brandon Williams is not a big 3 guy. So if you need threes, I wouldn't mess with him. But if you're just looking for points and rebounds and assists and a guy you can plug in tonight on a light night who should have a good game, it's Brandon Williams.
Love it. And I will take us to Justin Champagnie. This guy has been at least a late round value, just depending on when you move the sliders on the measurement there. Over the last month, over the last 3 weeks, over the last 2 weeks, he's shown you some top 75 punch along the way. Orlando's a pretty good opponent, so it's not like he gets a cakewalk here. They are banged up. But Justin Champagnie is right on the verge of just being a consistent top 75, 100 guy. And maybe could even do better than that if he ever got cut loose for a real 30 minutes per game in a real role where they start to really lean into the things that he does well as an all-around playmaker in Washington. It feels like they've already given him his 20, which is our baseline for him to be good, to be a late round guy on a go-forward basis. It feels like that's locked in. And with that, we'll just take that floor and the upside beyond that, and we'll move on. Doc, you got any honorable mentions?
Keyshawn George is out for Washington, and Trey Johnson has quietly scored in double figures in 9 straight games. He doesn't block shots. He does kind of steal the ball. He has 3 in his last 2 games. And he's not big at anything. Like, the rebounds are lacking. The assists are kind of blah. The blocks and steals are kind of blah. He scores. He hits threes. He shoots it pretty well from the floor usually. But I could see Trey Johnson having a nice game tonight for the Wizards.
Yeah, very intriguing. I made a play early in the year on him, thinking maybe he could bust through, because that stat set, it starts to creep up really quick with the shooting guard stats, and so with him being a player that they want to see good things out of, I like Trey Johnson a lot. I'll take us to Jay Huff, because he's been terrible lately, and that means bounce back is right around the corner. He's probably been dropped in a few spots. If you're gonna use a streamer slot, Jay Huff and his upside seems like a good use of it, especially if you need blocks and threes. And then Najee Marshall has dipped and basically gets a game against Sacramento. So everybody goes off against Sacramento. Najee Marshall should go off against Sacramento. He's had a top 75 run for about 3 to 4 weeks before this recent dip. So Najee Marshall is a part of the equation in Dallas no matter what, and should have a nice game tonight. And that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy NBA Today. If you're listening on the pod feed, take 60 seconds and leave a 5-star review. It really helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you guys never miss an episode. From Steve, Andre, and everybody here at Sports Ethos, we'll be right back with our daily fantasy deep dive, available exclusively on the Fantasy NBA Today pod feed and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.